And to you, good day.
Good day, everyone. I love you all so much. It's such a pleasure being here. So thank you for reflecting to me and to all of us the unconditional love and support of creation.
It is our passion and our pleasure to do so.
This reflection has helped me through many challenging moments, including the transition and transformation of my beautiful twin brother.
All right.
I, too, have transformed negative into positive and darkness into light. My life has bloomed exponentially by following my highest excitement to the best of my ability with no insistence on the outcome while staying in a positive state, regardless of the circumstance.
And don't forget the fifth point.
And taking action upon
examining your belief systems and letting go of those that are out of alignment with who you true to be.
Yes. Thank
All
you.
right. So that means then if you are following it as precisely as you indicate, you have no questions. Or do you?
I do have questions. I would like to continue my statement and say that I honor and dedicate this communication to my brother, for his death and life has given me endless gifts, for I am eternally grateful, and thank you. I am very excited about this topic of Bell Rock. We were at Bell Rock the other day, and on the northwest side of Bell Rock, there's these, I call them like fey cliff dwellings almost, these little holes, and I found myself ohming into them to ring the bell. And so I'm curious are there elemental beings that are a part of these holes?
Absolutely.
Can you give us any specific information on these beings?
No.
No. Okay. Recently, I had a significant dream where my mother and I...
One moment. Find, synchronistically or otherwise, a member of a local tribe that can tell you more about the elementals connected to the area.
Okay. I will allow synchronicity to guide me. So, I recently had a dream where my mother and I it seemed like we're in a hotel event center, and her and I were trying to escape the area that we were in. We were trying to get away for some reason, and then all of a sudden I found myself and her in this room with all closed doors, and there is a few other people in the room as well. And we were all sitting down, and there was a door, and we all knew not to open the door because eventually there was going to be a gray that was going to step through this doorway. And we were all a little frightened of when that moment was going to come. And all of a sudden, I saw my twin brother. He manifested in the dream, and really innocently and joyfully, he's like, "Oh, a door, let me open this." And so he goes ahead and opens it, and out walks a albino Sasquatch about 10 feet tall. And my brother sees this Sasquatch and starts to go into psychic shock and almost passes out. And the Sasquatch lovingly and compassionately grabs him and holds on to him to help him collect himself. And I was wondering if you can give me any more insight on that dream.
Do not be afraid of the power of your own higher mind.
Okay, well said. And
of course, partially blended with a memory of being on board a spacecraft.
Okay. So...
And also, partially blended with the idea of interdimensional travel.
Okay.
Because the Sasquatch can do that naturally.
Okay. So I feel that the hybrids are helping us activate our inner Sasquatch.
Well, yes, in a sense.
Yeah.
It can be done that way, since you do still contain the genetics that eventually evolved into the Sasquatch for those early hominids that were not altered by the Anunnaki.
Yes, okay. In December of 2010, I was at a concert in Denver, Colorado, and had a wonderful time. And as I was exiting the concert, I felt myself pulled magnetically towards this being, towards somebody standing near the exit. And as I bumped into this person, I lost consciousness, and I felt this shock go up my spine, and I felt as if spirit was breathing me all in just this instant. And when I opened back my eyes, this person was wearing a shirt that resembled exactly the experience that I had. And I stood next to this person and asked him, I felt like he was an alien. And so I was like, hey, so what's your name? And he told me his name was Niram. I was like, okay, yeah, he's... okay. So I was like, so Niram, where are you from? And he chuckles and looks at me. He's like, I'm from here. I'm from around here. I was like, oh, you know. Anyways, this was a really big event for me and really triggered me to start evolving more. So I was wondering, was this being a precursor, or was he a member of the hybrids or an extraterrestrial?
One moment. We are seeing what we are allowed to say. This is what would be called a precursor imprint. In other words, a precursor is telepathically using a human being from your planet to radiate the vibration of a precursor to trigger certain experiences within humans that may run into them.
Okay.
So you are touching into the vibration of a precursor with a human being used as a transmission device.
Interesting.
So it's one step removed, but you are experiencing the vibration of a precursor.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
So earlier this year, I was practicing a channeling course, and I was working with somebody who channels the EIL and other beings as well. And I had some private sessions with him and practiced channeling in front of a live group as well. And I suppose it felt really odd to me. I felt like once I was done with the channeling, I wasn't that excited about channeling anymore, as if I was just making up everything on the spot and fooling other people.
Yes.
And
it doesn't have to be your way of doing things. It's part of your exploration, and you can decide whether or not it's correct for you.
okay.
There are other forms of channeling, remember.
Yeah.
Channeling is something all of you do when you are doing what you love. You go into the channeling state. So how you choose to express it creatively is up to you.
Okay. Thank you for saying that, and that helps me try, or not try, but act on more of a, I could say, a grounded way of channeling. Because
Yes.
I feel like I'm channeling like in every moment. And
In a sense, you
Yeah.
are. Remember that you're all channeling your human personality
okay.
constantly. So you're always in a type of channeling state. But in terms of the physical representation, anytime you do what you love to do, anytime you're in a deep meditation, anytime you are, as you say, in the zone, and you don't pay attention to the passage of time, you are in the state in the brain known as gamma, between 40 and 100 cycles per second. That's the channeling state. You all do it.
Understood. So that meditation last night was very powerful, and I feel like collectively we went through a portal that we transformed just within that meditation. And so
Yes. Again, remember, you are shifting all the time, billions of times per second. The meditation acted, in a sense, like a navigation tool, a rudder, to make sure you are being guided in the direction of versions of Earth that are more reflective of what you prefer.
okay, because I also felt it was an initiation into the Interstellar Alliance.
In some senses, yes, because we talked about the idea of you being, in a sense, an honorary member of the Galactic Society. Not yet full-fledged, but on your way.
On our way. Okay. Well, with that being said, I'll be on my way, and thank you very much.
You are welcome. Andy, you good day.
How would you define the words perfect and perfectionism?
You are perfect as you are every moment. Whatever it is you are a perfect version of that. It doesn't mean you won't change, because you always change, and you become differently perfect as you are in that definition of that moment. So perfection is not the end. Perfection is a process, continual process that never ends. It is the willingness to be more and more of your true self. That's all it is. Does that help?
I'd like more clarification on how can every moment be perfect? Aren't there two sides?
Every moment you are a perfect version of what you are. You are equating the idea of perfection as if you are trying to reach a goal after which you will never change. That will never occur, ever, because you can always change. You can always become something else. Change is the only constant in creation. So the idea of perfection in the way that you're seeking it is to constantly change, to constantly become more as yourself, whatever that means. So perfection is not a static state, it's a dynamically changing state. If you go with the flow, you are operating in perfection, constantly changing. But the idea is that whatever you are at that moment, even though you're going to change, is a perfect version of that thing. Does that make more sense? Yes, no, maybe?
I'm still struggling with this, or challenged by this one.
Is it because you think that perfection is something you achieve and then you don't achieve anything beyond that?
Yes.
But I just told you that that's not what perfection is.
What if you're murdering someone or being murdered? Are those perfect moments?
For what they are, yes, it's a perfect murder. This is not a value judgment. We're not talking about positive and negative here. We're just saying it is what it is, and it is perfect as what it is. That's all we're saying. It is a perfect representation of that act, of that thing. Using perfect in that way simply as a definition of what is it that's going on. That's all we're saying. We're not making value judgments here. Are you associating a value judgment with the word perfect?
Yes.
Why?
That's a good question.
Thank you. Do you have a good answer?
Not at this moment, no.
All right. That's a perfect answer. Do you understand that change will never end?
I guess I haven't internalized that.
What do you think it would look like if you achieved perfection? Can you describe it to us?
I feel like
Give us an example.
I'd be out of debt, I'd have lots of money, I'd have...
Oh, I see. This is all connected to finance.
Well, my body would be healthy, I'd be in a state of joy and ecstasy all the time.
Your body would be healthy. All right. You would have all the money you want. Do you understand that there are different forms of abundance?
I do.
Do you?
I do.
Can you name them?
Outside of finance, there's also health, and that's all that's coming to my head at the moment.
All right. Health is a good answer, but outside of the exchange of money on your planet, which is a viable symbol of abundance, being given a gift is a form of abundance. Having something to trade is a form of abundance. Synchronicity is a form of abundance. Imagination is a form of abundance. Communication is a form of abundance. Because abundance is simply the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. That's all it is. So the idea is that if you focus only on one form, you're closing the doors through which other forms can come. You're invalidating all the other forms. When the natural act is to be open to all forms of abundance, so that in acting on your passion, whatever forms need to be there to join together to create the 100% abundance that will allow you to continue to act on your passion can then flow together and happen and support you. Maybe it will be a little bit of money. Maybe someone will give you a gift. Maybe your imagination will be inspired to think of a way you can do things that you hadn't thought of before that won't require as much money. Maybe you can communicate something to someone that they find valuable, and they will support you in a certain way. You have to let all the forms of abundance come together to support you. Don't limit the idea of what abundance means. Does this help?
It helps. Thank you.
You're very welcome. See, information is a form of abundance.
On the topic of information, I was wondering, what would you say if I wanted you to spoil my surprises or open one of my presents? Every time I've heard you say that, I've always wanted somebody to say yes.
All right. What present would you like me to open?
What I'd like to know about my future, or the best. What is that? What is the highest vibrational version of myself doing in a parallel reality right now?
What is your strongest passion that you're not acting on?
I love fantasy art, but I'm actually taking action on it.
Are you taking all the actions you can? And what is your art?
I'm working on t-shirts that are either dragons or spirituality related, and
is that the highest expression of your art that you can imagine?
No, it would actually be fantasy book covers.
Are you acting on that?
Am not.
Why not?
I guess the opportunity just doesn't...
Oh, you mean you haven't created an opportunity yet?
Yes.
Then why don't you create an opportunity?
I will do that now.
All right. Then now you know your future. Or not. It's up to you. Does that help you?
It does.
All right. Happy creating.
Thank you. May I also ask, can you describe what my spirit guide looks like?
A ball of light. Most spirits don't necessarily take any particular form. They usually appear as orbs of light.
Okay.
Will that do?
Yes, thank you.
You want to call your spirit guide Blue? You can.
I've been using this idea to try to prove to myself that spirituality is real by having other people that can see spirit guides describe mine to me and then comparing their answers.
All right. That's a fascinating project. Especially since spirit guides can appear as almost anything they wish.
Is there any other way I can prove spirituality to you?
Be more spiritual.
Okay.
Why do you need to prove spirituality?
I'm afraid that I will be duped,
By what?
that I will have chosen the wrong path for myself and will then be... Bless you.
The body is not sneezing. But thank you for your blessing. The The body is synchronistically representing the idea of choking, which is what you're doing on physical reality. Suffocating. The idea is you are a spirit. Are you afraid that you will not continue after you die? Is that why you're trying to prove it?
To a degree, yes.
Do you understand that you cannot cease to exist?
I fluctuate between believing and not believing.
It's not about believing. Do you understand how things work? Do you know that once you exist, which obviously you do, you cannot cease to exist? You can change form, but you cannot cease to exist.
I don't know it, no.
Existence is its quality. That which exists cannot become non-existent, because by definition, non-existence doesn't exist. That's its quality, to not exist. So that which exists cannot become that which doesn't. Do you understand this concept?
I think it's a fun wordplay, but I can't internalize it.
All right. Then I would caution you to simply not worry about it. To live your life as fully as you can, to follow your passion. For even if it were true that there is nothing else afterwards, why not live the fullest life you can anyway? Why not?
Do you have any parting book recommendations or transmissions for me?
Book recommendations
Yeah.
on your planet? Destiny of Souls and Journey of Souls might help you.
Thank you, Bashar.
You are very welcome.